For you, what do you think about the family of Adam and Eve when they lost Abel? You can read in the Old Testament that they found a wife for Cain.
Mm.
And a lot of people that they like to study the Bible, a lot of people that they like to go deep into the theology of the Old Testament, they want to find answers from where this wife come from.
Mm.
Do you have any answer about that?
Man, it's a pretty profound question, honestly, Pastor Javier. But I would say that it gets into the eternal dimension here, because if we go a little bit further back before Cain and Abel, we see that there are stories about, primarily from rabbinical literature, about Lilith, Adam's first wife. And for those who are not familiar, basically the story of Lilith is that she is or was the primary succubus or she demon. But she turned into that because she could not submit to Adam as her, in a way that, in a humble way, as his wife. And so eventually her resentment and whatnot kept festering and got to a point where, she unfortunately turned into a demon in the same way that Lucifer became Satan or the devil, as he was an angel. Right? And so now when we look at this, we consider how there was other forms of something. We can call it consciousness, we can call it, but in this eternal dimension, we see that there was other forces, let's say, other phenomenon, or phenomenological, dimensions here that were interacting with life. So, yeah, I would say it was in that territory.
That's great. And from where the source of authority come from to make that kind of interpretation?
Well, so the main sources of the stories concerning Lilith, in my understanding, comes from rabbinical scholars. Now, but for me, as I've studied, not only the Bible but also the Quran, the Guru Granth Sahib, the Vedas. I haven't read obviously everything front to back, but for me, even today when we talk about people like Eckhart Tolle, and he mentions the fall from grace, he mentions the separation between God consciousness, the oneness with God that human beings at one point did have, and how there was a separation at some point. And so for me, it's an accumulation. It's a continuation. It's something that it's hard to be specific about, but I would say, I'm just drawing from many sources on this.
That's great. So the authority, came from the Jewish Torah, came from the Jewish tradition, came from other religious belief. That's great. So when we talk about the completion of the creation, when God created Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
do you understand what it means? The full completion of the what it means, be as human beings one with God.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's basically being at peace with change. To me, I feel like that, because if you can embrace change in a way where, you're, at peace, then, that's the thing. The forces outside of yourself are, being empowered, and that could be someone else. That could be, your environment. It could be things that maybe need to be challenged. I'm not saying that, you're not going to have to push back at some point in some way if you see some abuse going on, or if you see, you may have to speak up. You may have to stand up for someone. There may be instances where you still know you have to act. But I feel like oneness with God is basically being at peace with, change, whatever that means. A change in a relationship, a change in your location, change in work, change in, your name, change in whatever it is. And if you're at peace with it, then, that's to me, in a way, being at peace with God. I feel like. Wait, hold on a sec. We got to go back here to your Pastor Javier. We started this off about the YouTube, the atheist YouTubers who come at who kind of start commenting about whether it's the Catholic Church or there's a lot of people out there, whether it's YouTube or TikTok. I'm sure the listeners out there know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've seen them. There's a lot of people who will say they have some kind of challenge with God, right?
Yeah. I think the challenger for the YouTubers, that they are sponsoring right now atheism in YouTube. Is concentrating this personal experience of them, because you can see that many of them, they have a lot of resentment, they have a lot of hate, they have a lot of intellectual prejudice when they talk, and they are trying to demonstrate by conviction that God does not exist, that the faith of Christianity have been totally dumb, and that they believe in something that does not exist, that never was what they in the primary moment they accepted as as something real. And these people are acting in that way for the only reason that they believe that they have been abused in the Catholic Church. And so many people that they came with a lot of intellectualism, they study in the Catholic Church, they receive money, they have support, financial support. They are trying to go forward, trying to destroy 20 centuries of tradition and 20 centuries of history of the Christianity. But a lot of people criticizing Christianity, a lot of people criticizing Jesus, a lot of people saying, "Oh, we find a new source to understand, that Christianity and Jesus, mean nothing." What they are doing is ignoring the Roman circus, because the Roman circle is a real archaeological, uh, you know, source of truth, and you can find the reason why for more than 3.5 centuries people die in the Roman circus. They don't die there because they were fanatic people. They don't die there because they have pain that they are supposed to express. They only die there for one reason.
Interesting.
And the historical reason is because Jesus was a real human being, and they believe that Jesus was so real that they, accept 100% that he raised from the dead, and the only hope that they have is be loyal to him as Lord and Savior.
Wow.
So that's the point that a lot of people trying to ignore. With a strong intellectual conviction, in atheism, because I was abused, or because I was treated, I was mistreated, or because I was in a religious group that they abused of me and they treat me really bad.
Is it?
And people are trying to go against that religious movement and other religious movement that are around Jesus, and they are trying to destroy all related with faith, tradition, and knowledge.
It sounds to me like we're kind of falling back on the road most taken, in the sense that they're just kind of being prompted by the surface level reaction to to their feelings, rather than channeling it, rather than utilizing the energy.
Right.
And I feel like you said something there that I just want to probe just a little bit further. You said that they believed they were abused,
Mhm.
right? So you feel like there are people who, I mean, I'm trying to just probe that a little bit because we're just trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that some people, some group of people inside this group, they are not the kind of atheists that they say, okay, I'm socialist, I don't believe in God, and I'm going to raise question about everything in the Bible, and I am considering myself atheist because I don't believe what is in the Bible. Many of these people, they have different motives, and the motive related with the emotional experience that they have been abused for religious people, and they want to get out of the closet now, saying that they have powerful argument because they discovered something new in the archaeology that say that Jesus doesn't exist.
I know
they
that
are
people
trying to
talking about,
express conviction in YouTube, conviction in many places. That they believe that with a new propaganda of atheism, they can destroy 20 centuries of faith and tradition conviction.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Well, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. We're gonna call it here. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and stay tuned.